Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here to the Paladins World Championship Qualifier land. My name's Grande. I will be joined by Gormizer here. He's sitting next to me, but we're keeping him like, oh no! It was going to be a surprise.
Here I am.
The lovely, lovely Gormizer here on the desk. We are getting started with matchup number 2 of today, and it's going to be an exciting one. We've got another cross-region, cross-world matchup here with Europe and Latin America. This time, though, we're taking our basically more traditional Latin American in terms of what we refer to as the region. We consider Brazil their separate region for whatever reason, but this is the LATAM representative. It's ZAGA Talent Gaming versus what will be the European Sour team, who really impressed me over the course of their PGS, their amateur run through our league.
Yeah, they actually had an incredible run because at the very beginning, they were almost non-existent. They were playing under the team name Underrated, and they lost, I think, the first 2 weeks. They were like 0-2, maybe 0-3 at one point. And then they're going up against the number 1 seed in Europe in the PGS, and you're just like, well, I mean, we already know this is going to be a blowout. They win.
Yeah.
And then it just all turns around from there to the point where they just climb and climb and climb to the point where now they're at LAN. And so they've had an impressive run, but I'm curious if it's going to continue that way.
Well, I guess the question is, were they actually underrated?
At the time, yes. Now they're Sour Team.
Now they're Sour Team. A very interesting thing as well, they're not having their full roster. Like we mentioned with Renegades on the desk and through cast excessively yesterday, they do not have Loki with them for that game, and they don't have Nino Sassala with them for this tournament or this game. He is a big part of what I consider the trio of the core of Sour Team's roster with Hayes and Second and Nino. And I thought it was a very, very unfortunate thing to hear because he means so much for this team. But they will be adapting. However, the big story as well is that we have a new LATAM representative in ZAGA. These are guys we haven't ever seen before at LAN, taking the place of Nocturnes Gaming, or what was Free Agent Boys in this PGS run.
You saw Sadak during that last set being able to play on a completely different team than what we have seen him on before, finding success there.
Yeah.
And this time around, you're going to see Pule Ule again, so a familiar name, but surrounded by a couple of names that if you haven't seen the LATAM PGS, you might not know. Exterminia is the one that I specifically have my eye on, but the entire team has a huge accomplishment in the feat that they beat the team that almost took down Na'Vi during the World Championship about January this year. So if they can keep their role, if they can show up, I mean, they're question marks. No one really knows what to expect out of them.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, this team did beat Pulele and Sadak, right? And Sadak just won on SSG, got that triple kill at the end with the Ruckus. And so you know they've got talent. But what does this talent mean when you take about a few seconds and then compare it cross-region? That's where we're still kind of having the answers given to us as we watch earnestly today, because these teams have never gone up against one another. It's a PGS team, not a PPL team, so that's even more question marks because we've seen PGS teams can sometimes play at a high level, a higher level than a PPL team, and sometimes a lower level. Well,
I know for a fact that SSG used to be scrim partners with their LATAM counterparts, was Free Agent Boys at the tail end of their tail, but I expect that they will be picking up it's TAIL and TALE.
Oh my God, you're
right.
The two tails. That was great.
But either way, I expect that they've been kind of helping ZAGA, playing against ZAGA, both of them, because they like their region no matter what. It doesn't matter if you're in Brazil or the rest of Latin America. They want to see the strength from both sides. So I expect they've been playing together. And normally these teams do dapple with scrimming against NA teams, whether it's PGS or PPL if they can find them. So I expect a lot from them coming into this. The same thing can be said, though, for Sour Team. A European team is going to play constantly against everyone in ranked that's from the PPL, from the top PGS. No matter what, there's going to be high competition.
Interesting note as well. Sour Team in this squad basically came through into the PGS about 2 weeks after it had started, and they had lost a couple of games. So although they came in second in the PGS scene, their performance as this unit was of a first-place PGS team. So the standings were not reflective of how they had been performing, and so I wonder if that will also shift the tide of this fight. Maybe a better team than ZAGA would have typically run up against this early. This is their first match, and we see Brightmarsh will be map number 1. Frog Isle, Frozen Guard banned for Sour Team, so won't see those. And Fish Market, Ascension Peak, notably Ice Mines and Timber Mill, available, not banned by these teams.
An interesting start for a map. I feel like Brightmarsh has been the starter for a lot of the PGS teams just because it is typically a we can find a 4-0 here. Like, we know the map really well.
But
this
can
give
ZAGA
us like
map. This
a
is
good
ZAGA's
first step forward.
Gotcha. But this is ZAGA's map.
This is ZAGA's map.
So Sour Team, we'll have to see. They might go for Jaguar Falls or something like that. That might have been their first because you're right. It's a very consistent style of play. How do you feel the Brightmarsh matchup will support either of these teams in their drafts?
Honestly, ZAGA, I feel like I've seen them play a lot of champions that fit here, like very versatile.
Yeah.
But the names that come to mind when I think this, and especially the champion pools they have, are Hayes and Second. They both play this map incredibly well. And like you said, not having Nino Sassalo, but Hayes has been able to bounce around from playing blasters to playing the Pip to being able to play normally anything his team really needs,
True.
but at a high level to the point where he can be the carry. I expect to see a lot from him here. And honestly, as much as Brightmarsh might be a comfort map for ZAGA, it might not be the best place to take Sour Team.
Yeah, and you could tell, I mean, they've got a strong performance from Zerini on champions like Inara, like Makoa. He's had lights out performances competing in that PGS, and it's been really, really fun to see. But one of the interesting things about it is that Moondog and Exterminia, these two players, they've been around Paladins esports and Paladins for just such a long time in their region, always kind of the stepchild, right? No, not the princess who goes to the ball, more of like Cinderella before she actually makes all the transformations and she just can't go. She just has to pick up seeds from the fireplace, and that's her life. That's what they were until, you know what? They finally got a break, and now they are here. I think is going to be big for those two players, especially when you look at Exterminia and the talent that he brings on a DPS flex for this team.
And the conversation around ZAGA, and specifically for Exterminia and Moondog as well, was, okay, well, the first time you beat Free Agent Boys, Hecate wasn't there. How much is that like a true win if you come through? The second time they beat, again, 4 out of 5 of the members that were Nocturnes Gaming at this last World Championship. They proved themselves there because it wasn't a, okay, close 3-game set. It was, we win this. This is our land to take. We're going to go. And because of that, we have seen, again, flexibility coming down from Exterminia, big playstyle that I think I at one point equated him as a kind of second Hecate, someone who's coming in, whose aim is incredibly precise, incredibly big for their team, and because of that, his champion pool, while it might be a little bit more limited to those that you want him to be pinpoint accurate on, is going to be devastating to anyone he goes against.
Zetha and Varial, players that we've seen, they've been around. We haven't seen much of them at all as far as these big moments in LAN, and so that's where we're hoping to see those players come up on the side of ZAGA. A lot of people, and this was, I think, across the board from Europe to North America, had ZAGA as one of the 4 teams that they expected to qualify out of this event and be at DreamHack Atlanta HRX in November 16th through 18th. Do you feel the same way about them?
I have high hopes for them. Again, you're looking for top 4. You don't have to get number 1 during this LAN. It's going to help you in seeding terms, but you don't have to get to that first place, second place spot in order to win, I guess, quote unquote. But if you get top 4, which is typically where we see either SSG or their LATAM counterpart make it, I expect this team, especially if what they come out today is a stomp, then I expect to see them go far. I have high hopes for them.
So you think they're going to make it?
I think they can make it.
Or you think they're going to make it? I want a hard yes or no.
Yes. They're going to make it.
All right.
Now they're going to get stomped.
You know what? No, now they're going to get stomped. You didn't want to jinx them? Is that what it was? You're looking out for them? I think a lot of people as well, you share a lot of the tendencies and maybe some of the feelings that are out there in the air. People like to see LATAM succeed. It's a rare thing in Paladins, but when Brazil and LATAM are doing well, it's exciting because Europe has dominated this scene for so long. North America have had their moments. That also gets people up, but there's something about the international regions that when they have a performance, when they shake things up, it just makes this whole storyline narrative that we have absolutely meaningless, and we all get really amped for what's going to happen. That's the man right there, Puleule, who took Na'Vi with his squad, Sadak and Hecate and Fuzzy Logic and those boys to 7 games in the semifinals just this January before narrowly losing out on that World Championship appearance. He's going to look to continue his dominance at LAN with a new squad this time.
And the same thing I would have said for SSG. I can't think of a better team to pull from in that area, in that region, 4 players. And SSG say, well, we had Sadak as a coach first, and then once visa things started coming up, we had to pull him into play. Of course, that's never a downside like you had joked about during the interview. Same thing kind of goes for Puleule.
Poor Sadak,
Oh, man, Puleule had to play with this world champion class player at this point. Like, it's not the end of the world for them. As much as it is going to be rough not having your full, I want to say, like, normal roster, they've had a lot of time to be able to practice with this, figure out what's going on, and get comfortable with each other.
I think that was the right answer, though, from Aries, because, he's missing his boy, Spexy. He wanted to show love to him. He said, it was a bummer Spexy couldn't make it. He gave kind of credit to that. but he was really like, you know, I mean, we're happy Sadat can play with us. I'm not mad at that. I'll say that for sure. And I absolutely think that gives his teammates confidence back at home, show them some love, and then now they're ready to move forward. That'll be an exciting matchup. But of course, we are getting ready for ZAGA versus Sour Team, moving a little bit towards the Sour Team narrative. I think Sour Team has had a lot of potential for a long time.
Yeah.
Hayes, second. Nino, I mentioned those three. Second, fantastic support player. But also Hayes, fantastic DPS player that can flex very well onto all of the blasters. Do you think he's going to have that type of lights-out performance that they're going to need him to have to win this set?
I think so. He's always been consistent, and we always talk about landers coming in, especially any players that haven't been here. And from what we were talking about yesterday, it does tend to affect people who might be a little bit younger. A lot of these players could be in their teens still, so it might hit them a little harder.
Yeah.
But I feel like Hayes has been playing for so long. He's been in this competitive level for so long. He has such a versatile champion pool that there's nothing to really shake him off of it. I think his game is going to show up, and it's looking at, can Second make these plays we've regularly seen him make, where it's just been stellar support saves? Can Zarini do the same frontline style that he's been able to bring, or is this meta currently maybe suppressing him a little bit more?
You know what's interesting to me? I actually kind of have a hint. I got a little hint in the Mouse Sports game that they banned Dredge. Now, no one's played Dredge at all.
Nope.
You're down one game, and you could go into the loser's bracket and you ban Dredge. That seems odd, which it makes me seem like they know something about Dredge and Jaguar Falls. They know something about Dredge and maybe Brightmarsh, that maybe these teams here in the PGS are still, and my question's coming in a second, are still figuring out. The teams at LAN here still testing things out. Do you think that maybe Mouse Sports in that PPL region, maybe some of the scrims, some of the talk is that Dredge is super valuable on these close-in maps, but those 4 teams that are waiting at HRX haven't shared that with many people, so people are still trying to figure it out here? Is that what you think could be happening?
I would think so, because I feel like there's a lot of utility that we could see, especially when you see things like Drogo's coming through or not coming through in a lot of these games, or banned out. The same thing with Willow, either picked up a lot or banned out. Dredge is playing that role that we kind of saw Eevee in for the fall split, where it's just like, man, we don't have any other blasters to go to. We need to go here. But I think he brings a lot more to the table. Eevee, you have to have a very specific player and play style to make sure she works.
Right.
Dredge will fit with your blaster. They'll understand them. They'll know where to stand. It's going to be a little bit more difficult because he doesn't have any of the movement that most of the other blasters have. But
on a map
still
like Jaguar
able to deal with it.
Falls,
Yeah,
Brightmarsh, you don't
can
need
just
it.
hide around the wall, maybe even
Exactly.
bank shots off of the wall and not be seen at all while you're shooting the point.
Well, I mean, I dare a lot of people to just show up to a Scuttle Dredge, you know, and he just shoots he just shoots his feet and kills you instantly.
Here's
I mean,
one, reload one.
yeah, have fun blinking into that, Eevee. I don't think that's going to work out very well for you. But this is a high level of play. Players taking risks, definitely not what they want. Get some little warm-up action there. Some flexible fingers. He's going to need them.
How much that spacebar was being held, I'm going to say that was Drogo's.
You think?
Because I can't think of any
Wow.
other time why you would hold the
My
spacebar
man's
down
going
that
deep.
long.
That's detective work right there. Detective Gormizer. Or Mr. Newberry.
Mr. Newberry.
Newly married, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Give some congratulations to Mr. Newberry and Mrs. Newberry. Let me see that ring, Gore. Lost that ring right there. Show that to the camera.
It's hard to see, but it's got,
Let me see that.
what is it? Is it copper? I can't remember. Around the side and then silver in the middle.
Ooh,
It's got,
baby.
It's got 2 colors.
Ooh.
It's nice and shiny. It
Mr.
catches my attention,
Newberry.
and it is
And-
actually a lot heavier on this hand than I thought it was going to be when I picked it out.
Hey, look at that. We got some heavy jewelry. Ain't mad at that. And he also voted today as well. Just a reminder, it is voting day in the United States. So if you are able to vote and you're just watching Paladins Esports and saying, I can't miss this game, you can. You can. It'll be there on replay. Leave your computer open so we still get the view. I mean, obviously.
Also on mobile.
But and mobile is another thing as well. Some people don't have Wi-Fi, don't have good LTE. I didn't have service when I was in my voting line.
That's
so
a good point.
it is true, but it is worthwhile. We encourage you all to vote here at High Res Studios to make sure your voice is heard. And we are actually hearing that we have an interview down on the floor with ZAGA's coach. Let's go ahead and have a listen as to what he's thinking heading into this matchup.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Battletoe, the coach for ZAGA Talent Gaming. My first question for you, man. Talk to me about just the rise of this team, because Latin America had been dominated for so long by those free agent boys. What did it take to finally take them down?
Yeah, well, I think it was like quite a surprise, like ZAGA Talent being able to defeat Fab on the last split, and well, you know, like sadly, like the original roster was a little bit punished by some visa denies. Like, well, in South America, like, it happens like quite oftenly. We had to like change like 2 players because of that. One of the players is Pule or Pule. Like it's like yeah, all the Fab player, and that joined the roster. Well, the other one is like Faryu, and well, I'm the coach. Like I'm actually the last incorporation of the team.
So how's it been bringing Pule into this team? Did you guys look to learn from him? What role is he playing in how this team is going to operate?
Well, it was like quite helpful, like having like struts from Fab.
Yeah.
Sadly, like team plays from one team and the other was like quite different. We would like to like have a little more time to practice, but well, we have like we were like overclocked on this, but well, yeah. I think we're on point.
Would you guys say that you adopted a little bit more of their style, or did you try to keep your own identity and just bring Pule onto that?
No, well, actually, we did like our own style.
Okay. Word. Well, thank you so much, man, and good luck to you in the game. We're going to send it back over to the desk.
Thanks, Nick. And if you guys are wondering why he's so short, that's what we all look like if we don't stand on boxes next to Nick. It's not him. It's Nick. All right. Just want to make sure everyone is aware of that.
It's a problem we struggle with.
It's
almost literally daily.
It is literally daily, yeah. But it's okay. You know, I like having some height. He averages our height out. You say the average height of a Paladins caster is like 6 feet. And you're like, wow, you see me and Gore, we're, 5'8", 5'10", and then you're like, wait, what? 6 feet? Nick shows up 6'4", and you're like, I see where it is. Vox like 6'3". Anyways, great stuff. Glad to have him on the team and excited for picks and bans to be rolling through Gore. Early predictions, we have a feeling that ZAGA's going to make it through the tournament. Do you think this game's going to be the game that they win, though? Do you think they're going to make the losers bracket run?
I think they can get ahead here, and it's always very difficult. I feel like the LATAM teams specifically have always done a lot better once the pressure's on. But there's also a little bit of shakiness that comes down, especially getting first rounded. So confidence-wise, I think you need at least this to go 3 games if you get knocked down for either of these teams.
Right.
But I expect ZAGA can at least eke out a win. It's not going to be that easy, though. Sour Team is definitely accomplished, definitely something you have to keep your eyes on. So if they do win, I'm still expecting like 3 games, potential 3 threes every single time.
That's tight set. This is an interesting kind of narrative to keep looking at because, so many speculation points. It's almost like I'm giddy. I want to see what happens because this is a team that I've had my eye on, the PGS team, Sour Team. Super, super, super exciting to see how they perform and how well they adapt as well. I mean, I think Renegades, we look at the other team that's missing a very key member of their roster. You look at Renegades. The adaptation was average and maybe below average for a lot of people's expectations. Sour Team have a chance to adapt and maybe get a little bit better. You never know at LAN because we were talking, hot about Alex at LAN last time and didn't show up online, but looked decent today. Still not really very impressive, so I wonder if Sour Team are going to have any standout stars here on the big stage.
And that's where the question marks come for, I think, both of these teams. Neither having a lot of LAN experience. They've really been able to showcase themselves in the PGS for the longest time, but that's where we've seen them. We've not seen them internationally. We've not seen them, in the case of Sour Team, like against and in comparison to these PPL teams, where exactly they stand. So there's a lot that can go right, a lot that can go wrong for either side.
I agree. Banned here is the Drogos. Big blaster conversation, I think, around these teams here. I mean, we know that the EV can be played at very high skill levels of execution for ZAGA Talent Gaming. Both Exterminia and Moondog can take that role on. Sour Team here banning the Makoa early on for their roster. And now it'll pass back to ZAGA. They have one more ban. They are in the first pick position, so they'll be able to take the pick of the litter once everybody has said who they don't want to play.
Torvald has been the ban of the LAN so far.
The LAN ban.
The one that no one really wants to see. And even though we actually saw him yesterday not successful, I think it's just because of all the other maps he can find. It was actually on Brightmarsh where he didn't really have that impact. But it's the implications he brings with him. So if anyone is sitting at home like wondering why Torvald all the time, like why all of a sudden him, it's the boost that he gives to anyone else. He enables teams to play pretty much anything they want to. Talus specifically, who's been on the rise even without him, becomes a monster.
Yeah, and you don't really look at things like his other abilities besides, the bubble and Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam not able to take advantage of. The bubble, sure, but if you're looking at an Eevee, I mean, the worst thing an Eevee can have is be nullified by a Torvald, where you're silenced. You can't blink, you can't ice block, you can't soar, you can't do anything. You're just 1,800 damage waiting to be killed instantly, and that's what he could bring. It's a smart move, I think, for ZAGA. Sour Team ban out the Androxus, which is something that they've actually had a lot of success with, but with without Nino Sasala, they're going to have to basically hedge their bets that they don't want ZAGA to have it instead. And ZAGA here with a very important first pick. Inara open, Gore, but they're going to go for the Khan.
I actually like the Khan pickup. It's very difficult, I think, to decide between the two. Inara brings something to the table that I think no other frontline does better than her, and that is just an innate ability to not die for the longest period of time. She is a healing sponge, which is why you typically will see her either first or second, much like today. But Khan, especially in the right hands, I'm looking at teams like Envy, it is a completely different frontline to deal with.
Drogo's banned, and the Willow picked. It leaves some Eevee open, it leaves some Dredge open. We haven't seen a team pick Dredge. We've only seen it banned, and that was in the last set. It looked like a pass ban, but it was truly a Dredge ban, we heard backstage. Maldamba and Leon wrapped up, so they've got the sign of House Ico. They even have the same background portraits in their profile pictures there, Gore. If those two match on Tinder, do you think that's like, oh yeah, definitely. You're from my hood, like let's see if this works.
It's like the romance that can never be politically.
Yeah.
But like secretly, they, you know.
That's some real like Lannister stuff right there. That's some Lannister stuff.
Well, are they related? I don't think they're related. I don't think it's as far as the Lannister stuff
It's
goes.
close. It's close. Khan
Close
was like her. I don't know what
surrogate
the word is.
father.
Yeah.
Well, not
essentially.
surrogate father. He was the guy that
her
was
mentor
father
growing
figure.
up. Yeah, father figure. So that would be a little odd. Some people are into that. Cassie and Fernando locked in for Sour Team. Talus picked up here for ZAGA. No blaster preference yet. We'll see what happens. It's the barracks, so the double front line to compete with Fernando and Inara's pressure. Now Sour Team most likely locking in a Ying we would expect here, as we've seen over the last few days. And it is the Life Exchange Ying. That will bring it to a head. ZAGA with the Khan, Leon, Maldamba, Talus, Barrack against Inara, Willow, Cassie, Fernando, and Ying. Gore, who do you give this one to just on the draft?
I actually am feeling ZAGA's draft a little bit more. I think they have better anti-heal innate at the very beginning, and I think Talus is someone to keep your eye on.
All right, well, it is Latin America versus Europe, and it's set 2 of today's day 2 of the PWC qualifier land. Let's send it over to your casters to get things started. Pretty Hair and Vox.
Thank you so much, Rain Day and Gore Miser. This should be an interesting one. Gore gives it over to ZAGA Talent. What are your thoughts on these two drafts headed in?
I think it's a really tough one. Honestly, if I was going to give anybody on paper for Brightmarsh, I'd give it to Sour Team, unless Khan actually gets their ultimate off, unlike that Mouse game we saw previously. Because if you get an overpower and you throw somebody straight out of the objective,
it's a big oops.
Might be a little bit different, but that's a big if there, Nick. We saw in that last set, Mouse didn't get the opportunity to do that. We'll see if Sour Team can really kind of step down the neck of ZAGA and put the same kind of pressure on, or if ZAGA can maybe spin him for a loop with that Talus pick.
Yes, sir. I think looking at this draft leading into this game one, both of these teams have clearly done their homework on each other. I really feel that these bans were very intelligent. I feel that these drafts picking away things that the team would have no doubtedly taken next had they stayed open. Here are the talent selections for both squads. Fairly standard stuff here that you would expect from
Impulse,
both
Cassie.
squads. Yes, sir, Impulse indeed. Straight to the objective. Barrack will lay down the first turret of this set. ZAGA Talent Gaming versus Sour Team. Bowling balls his way out of trouble. But I don't think that Barrack has much of a prayer in a 1v1 against Inara on the point.
No, and Barrack might actually be stuck in right now. That could be really bad because they have been corralled in by the wall there, but it's Nixus who finds the first kill into Extra Mania. Just, again, I think that pressure on a Barrack drew the focus from ZAGA Talent and allowed Sour Team to get this flank off. Commander's grab comes through, but Nixus picks up a second kill, playing the Cassie one trick, really kind of doing their best Nina Sassler impression here.
And he's just sitting there, and you're right. I mean, that's something you got to bring up here. Nina Sassler, big carry for them during the PGS, during qualifying for this event.
Yep.
Has to step up, has to fill those shoes. They were absolutely massive shoes to fill. Frankly, shoes that I did not feel that anyone was going to be able to fill, but so far so good.
Yeah, Nixus has done a good job at this point, but I don't think we can really kind of judge how well that will be continued. It's 2 kills in, right?
Way away.
With Extra Mini and Moondog picking up a couple of kills on their own and the rest of Sour Team retreating, we do have to remark on the fact that with Sour Team taking the first objective with 2 minutes left on the clock, they do have 300 extra credits in pocket. They can do a mid-round buy here, but that first point capture was so quick that they might not actually have the 600 credits required to get something like a Cauterized 2 online. If we can take a look at the items, we will be able to see that, and you can see that no mid-round buy is able to come through because of that economy difference.
Vox, let's talk a little bit about ZAGA Talent Gaming as
Sure.
they kind of force Sour Team all the way back. Now, their really only credibility going into this event, that was a juicy little play there from Moondog, but their credibility stems from the fact that they were able to take down the free agent boys, the longtime kings of Latin America. And while that is a great achievement, and I don't want to take anything from them here, was that just a shadow of the former free agent boys? Was that team really the same team that eventually got taken down by ZAGA Talent Gaming? Is that enough for them to go in with their heads held high into this event?
I'm going to be honest with you, Nick. I don't think that the free agent boys we saw were a shadow to their old selves, right? We saw at the 2 successive lands that they were there in the spring and the summer, they were a completely different team to the team that we had ended up seeing at the Paladins World Championship back in January of this year. And as a result, sure, free agent boys were still a formidable force, but I think that they weren't quite the same that we were expecting. They weren't this world-class team at that point for whatever reason it might be. Now, ZAGA coming into this are in a really interesting position because they're playing without 2 of their main roster here, and they're still being able to force Sour Team back to their base, doing a really good job right there. But now Sour Team, they've got all 5 ultimates geared up. If there's one thing we've noticed from yesterday, Nick, it's that Yings like to use this Illusory Rift early on to gas pedal this first push in if they can.
And I love that play. I really do. I mean, that's one of my favorite things to see. A lot of teams plagued by roster issues, visa issues. It's no excuses here. You have to come and you have to win. Seismic Crash will stun out the Barrack. 12 seconds left on the clock. This has been a quiet round up until this point. The first pick of this team fight will go the way of Sour Team. There's the Illusory Rift. It's popped. The proverbial gas pedal is slammed.
And there we go. Oh, look at that Cassie flank as well. The positioning from Cassie just to try and get around, but Nixus isn't able to find the kill. Hayes has picked it up. Zarini finds extra Minia as well, and now Moondog is left trying to defend up on the high ground. Respawn from Barrack. Will they be able to hold with Dome Shield?
There it is. The barricade will drop down. He drops the Dome Shield to boot. Plenty of shields. The Venn diagram down on the objective. The Enlightenment will come through, will connect, but it will not score the frag. Up into the air. Does Willow pop the Flay Flight? No, she will be just sitting here, running and gunning in the Immortal. Serpent is going to come out as well, trying to fear everyone away, but the kill feed just keeps filling up Red Box.
Oh, wow, and that was such an extended hold. You know, I really like that Enlightenment coming through from ZAGA Talent. I thought that maybe that 1600 damage would be enough to soften everybody up, but Sour Team just popped the Immortal. They hold on to everything, and with that first blood coming through, I mean, that kind of seems like it set the trend for the rest of this game, with just Nixus picking up a double kill and Sour Team snowballing from there.
Yeah, and winning that fight with already a frontliner on the objective, already at 63%. They're in such a good spot there. It was a very quiet mid-round, though, and it wasn't until the final 10-15 seconds that the spark really got lit once again.
I'll be honest, I feel like part of that was just Sour going, you know, like 500, we're at 500 credits, let's just wait, let's just get that mid-round buy coming through, get that Wrecker to that Cauterize to that Haven 2, whatever you might need, and go into this. But you see that ZAGA Talent Gaming, they use 3 of their ultimates on defense, they still have 2 out of 5 ult economy, and there is the Scout and the Fae Flight available for Sour Team matching that, but those 2 ultimates will be used relatively quickly. Puliuli has to go big with an overpower here.
And already a frag. First blood this round goes to Nixus on an extra Minia, one of the guys you're looking at to hyper carry this game for ZAGA Talent. There's the overpower. It gets used, Vox. It's the least we could ask for. It gets the kill onto Inara as well, but Willow is just teeing off. Look at the angles being played through the window as well, keeping everyone low. Now our focus turns over to Ule on the objective, but Khan is able to score the frag. Extra Minia rotates back in with a true power, but he's not able to get anything done. However, he does tee it up for Moondog to knock it out of the park.
And Moondog just, with the setup coming through there from both of those kills, able to pick up a double kill, 66%, and combat mechanic from ZAGA Talent Gaming. Sour Team, they're going to pop the Fae Flight, but it's Fae Flight trying to get into Brightmarsh. That's not the best utilization of that ultimate, Nick.
Oh my goodness gracious. Puliuli locking down Zarini as well with the Commander's Grab, not allowing the Inara to even play this round. But that's because he's got his ultimate. I will say con compositions in round 1 play very differently than they do in round 2.
I'm to be honest with you. Unless you're playing in a full CC and firing
line
CC immunity can do some big good. It's like, they kind of suck in the point fight. You get that overpower up, and at that point you're pulling somebody, and then you either turn and burn, or as we saw in Splitstone Quarry yesterday, if that isn't possible, you just throw them off the map, and that's very possible in a map like Brightmarsh. So Sour Team now setting up on defense. Nick, this payload's moving much quickly for ZAGA Talent Gaming than it was for Sour Team last round.
Yes, sir, and thank you for saying what I was thinking there. I guess at the end of the day, I love it. 52,000 damage for Willow, a good showing from Haste, no doubt, with only 7 minutes played on the board.
It's interesting to see a Cauterize Willow as well. One thing that we remark on is that Willow's Dead Zone applies such good anti-heal. It is the only true 100% anti-heal in the game. But Willow picking up Cauterize is going to make her a little bit more effective at consistently applying that anti-heal when the Dead Zone isn't down. So Willow can chase down different targets in Fae Flight. Doesn't stop Moondog from being their natural predator though on the Lian, but second will still claim their life.
Yeah, Moondog has definitely pulled his weight in this composition. And I like the fact that I'm always seeing communication from these ZAGA talent and these Sour team comms, and just looking at their player camps and things like that. You're really seeing it. They're almost feeling natural with each other. They're both playing very, very well.
They certainly are. And now with 60 seconds left on the clock, you can see ZAGA setting up to try and break the base again. Puglioli does have the ultimate left. Overpower could be used here, but Nick, with how successful that was in the Brightmarsh capture, I'm expecting that to be saved. Maybe a Dread Serpent might be used if they really want to try and push this through and force something, but no! Here comes the Overpower. Goodbye, Willow. That's what we call the big eraser for really big mistakes.
Ule wants to put his foot down early and often here, 36 seconds. But that's it. Where are the other frags coming through here? Nara's dropping lower and lower. Just can't get this crosshair on the Sonora battle shouts. But now he's in an awkward spot in between Nara, her wall, her head, and the walls of Brightmarsh itself. Puglioli, such an awkward sequence from him. And in the chaos, they were able to take that one kill back, but it's a triple kill from Exterminio when he is here to play. He shuts it all down.
I'd say that's a bit of a fruit preserve for Sour Team right now, Nick, but you don't call it that in the US. You call it jelly, where in the UK we call it a jam, and that's exactly what happened to that cat right there. Beautiful play from Sour, but not enough to really deal with this Talus, who just is making waves right now. Places down Route of Travel, throws out a lot of damage on a Haze, just forcing his Willow out, gets poked out, but you know, they can just Route of Travel back to safety if necessary, and that'll heal them at half to health. But the Willow's chasing. Will they get taken down here? They need a heal really coming through from the Maldamba very quickly.
No more cooldowns here. There's the Immortal from Fernando. And Willow is not going to let this Talus out for free. Hits left, hit right. He doesn't know where to look. Hayes is such a beautiful position just to take this fight. He finds the double kill. He's pouring damage into this. And I will say one thing that I really kind of like about the Cauterize on the Willow is that it just allows you to be purely aggressive with your Nightshade damage. You don't have to worry about it.
You put it on a tank if you really want to shut it down, especially if you're playing into something like an Inara, but I mean, you're not. You can just plonk it down and get that 800 burst, and it's a massive amount of AoE. I mean, it really is. You can hit people around corners for days.
Exterminio has about 35-ish thousand damage, maybe about 38 now. And it looked like in that one replay, I mean, he got maybe close to 10K on the board, so he needs to be more effective.
Absolutely. And did you really notice, though, that the target prioritization that came on through was looking initially at Sour Team's Inara, gets called at the Cassias above him, turns and focuses down. We need to see more of that kind of play coming through.
I love that.
But with 5 Havens coming through from Sour Team, they're really recognizing how dangerous this double direct damage duo of Moondog and Exterminia are, and they're trying to shut them down.
I mean, it's not much of a choice here, Vox. Everyone on ZAGA Talent is a direct damage source for the most part. And when you look at that type of thing, it just makes it very easy for Sour Team to make that decision. And that's one of the weaknesses
this
of
is where
not
Dome
drafting
Shield
a
comes
blaster.
into play. You know, you get that flamethrower turret down. Haha, no unmitigated damage or unmitigated damage coming through for you, but Zetha gets stunned out, gets shut down. That might have actually been a seismic crash used by Inara, and it was there. So a lot of ultimates invested so far to get control of this objective for Sour Team. I feel like
and what are your thoughts on that?
Well, we saw this happen last set on the Ascension Peak game between Mouse and Space Station Gaming. Space Station start off a cap, they throw all their ultimates at the wall, and then Mouse just comes back in and takes the kill. Oh, this is big. Still gets the kill on the Willow.
What? I mean, I don't think that's the target that he wanted there, but the wall went up at the last possible second, and Overpower does have a big hitbox. It is basically impossible to miss if anyone's even relatively on your screen. You're going to go fishing. You're going to catch someone. Exterminia and Moondog step up to the plate. Vox, there are still 2 ultimates in the tank for ZAGA Talent. Is it enough?
This is really the big thing that I was talking about, and absolutely, I think that Overpower, even though it didn't take the Inara, which we were probably looking for, it still took out a really big threat on the side of Sour Team. And now look at the zoning coming through. Everybody's dismounted. There's no way that Sour Team can make it back in time, but what's this? Willow in the back line.
Get on the
Here's
objective.
the Dome Shield. That's going to zone out Fernando, and his
point.
overtime is ticking, but Zarini's making their way back in.
Oh my goodness, they've let the Inara back onto the objective. This overtime has started in favor of ZAGA Talent Gaming. If they are left uncontested, they will capture it. Sour Team still needs to climb up from the 87%, but Fox, they're winning the fight. Their ultimates are starting to creep back up towards full. Moondog is here. He has his enlightenment, but look at all the red on the objective. He gets in there, drops it, red like a book. Yappy drops the Immortal, and it will be a Sour Team victory, 4-1. They shut ZAGA Talent down.
I mean, what a beautiful series of events right there at the end, but you can't help think that that was ZAGA Talent Gaming just letting the Willow go all the way through to the backline, letting that 1v1 happen, just not something which should have occurred. That kind of scout needs to come out a little bit earlier, need to know where your enemies are, and questionable Dome Shield placement as well. We were looking at the available ultimates for that last defense, thinking, well, you know, ZAGA's got this capture in the bag at least, because they're sitting on a Dome Shield, they're sitting on a Dread Serpent. and then it's only the Dread Serpent which is actually used to kind of zone away enemies.
Right.
The Dome Shield is just placed in an area where Fernando looks at it and goes, you know, I could walk through the fire here,
And
or I
now-
could just take a couple of steps to the left and kind of comes all the way back
Canoodle your way
around.
around. I mean, that was certainly a bit of a lapse in judgment, a lapse in positioning there from ZAGA Talent. They just had to get on the point, and they would have stayed in the game. But that's not the way it played out. Game 1 will go to Sour Team. Let's send it back over to Rain Day and Gormizer on the desk.
Interesting stuff, because I thought this game was still going to be going on for the next couple of minutes. And I'm sitting there saying, great zone. And all of a sudden, the capture objective, it's not growing anymore for ZAGA Talent Gaming, and it turns out there's a 1v1 being happening with Hayes, and that was just the big play of the game, huh?
And Hayes is probably the biggest factor overall for our team. Like, I mean, going into the second round, he was 5-2. At one point, he was 7-4. I think going into the third round, every single time, he's the one picking up the kills. He's the one that's having a lot of these clutch plays, getting the double kills that stall it out. And then at the end of the game, he's the one who gets his team back in time to stop and be able to find that 4-1.
He's a pretty phenomenal player. You could tell that it's a fantastic opportunity to show what happened if you were watching and maybe a little bit confused as well. The back cap that we were talking about that kept this game going, that really won the game for them right there. They may still have won, but everyone on ZAGA Talent Gaming continue to think that the zone is possible. This is a little bit later on beyond that back cap. It had already happened at this point, but interesting enough, before that all started, it was basically Hayes in the back line that had taken a 1v1. And I think he actually got the support.
And when it comes back, it's actually exactly when you said great zone. There were 3 members, I believe, of Sour Team that were on the screen.
Yeah.
2 of them get dismounted there by Zetha. The third makes it through. I didn't know who it was, but I just saw something mounted. And it turns out it ends up being Hayes.
It's the
and
one
no
you
one
don't want.
else caught him. There was no net to go behind that. And then again,
the one that
right
got away.
afterward, you start seeing the Dome Shield come out in a really odd area. It felt like they were rushed, that they were surprised themselves. Wait, someone got by?
Well, you could see what he was trying to do with the Dome Shield. He was trying to hold the zone that he had already committed to holding. He had said, we are taking right and we're taking left. Center we can cover on the stairs because we can shoot at the center and we can also cover right side. So it's a 2-for-1 essentially in his mind. And you look at it and kill to death ratio for Moondog and Exterminia is phenomenal. What happens is decision making and basically just execution on the objective for Brightmarsh ends up going the way of Sour Team, and that earns them the victory in this objective-based game.
And Moondog, there was a certain point where, again, going after that first round, it's a 2-0 for Sour Team. It really doesn't look that good for ZAGA. The second round turned everything back up for them. Everything starts falling in line. Moondog specifically started hitting a lot more shots, having a much bigger impact. Had the record 3 being able to come through, so he was dealing with shields like they were nothing. But I think it was a lot of focus coming down from ZAGA, again, onto the kills, not as much onto the objective where they needed to focus on it. And when they were focused on the objective, it just wasn't quite the perfect decision they needed.
Well, your MVP for this game, sponsored by SteelSeries, is absolutely the man with the back cap, Hayes. He finds so much damage, multiple streaks, getting up to at least 10 from what I saw, and just being where he needed to be. Nick mentioned the cauterize application. This was that back cap. He's waiting. He wants Ferial to get as isolated as possible, and the Nightshade Burst is what does it. There's no way for him to escape that. There's absolutely no way. Though they use the Dread Serpent to try and kill him, the job has already been done. Beautiful flank from Hayes, and he continues to be a player to look out for, in my opinion.
And it's the timing as well. It's not just, okay, well, he went in and pushed Maldamba off. It's right as they were getting to that point, the team is confident and they're comfortable. They're like, no one's going to touch it, no one's going to stop it. Not only contests and then pushes away Maldamba, because there was like 1 second that if anyone from ZAGA stands on that point, they get it, the game keeps going, and that Willow play makes no difference. It was the perfect execution for them, and it's just very narrow, like a very narrow miss, I want to say, for ZAGA to be able to get back in. Had one person been just a step closer, they could have continued their pressure on the game, but as it is, they're going to be going in maybe a little bit more dejected or maybe a little bit more cautious, I want to say, for the next game.
Yeah, and I wonder how those dismounts are really going to come into play here. We've seen so many games turn on the tide of how well you can zone. And we've seen some teams fail at that. I think SK Gaming had a lot of moments where they failed at that earlier on in this set. We saw even Space Station Gaming on moments like Ascension Peak where they had the objective and then they failed at zoning. Mouse Sports were able to come back in and grab the first 2 objective fights. But it ends up being, I think, Brightmarsh even more decided, because that's what not zoning properly and thinking that you are zoning properly really can result in a full loss. And Jaguar Falls Map 2, we talked a little bit about it. This is where we saw that dredge ban. Do you expect any shenanigans here on the side of either of these teams?
I wouldn't mind seeing Willow get banned out here by ZAGA, which I think, again, when you're looking at the way blasters go, if Drogos gets banned or just foregone for this game, then we start seeing the dredge potential come out, especially with Inara on the board. This is, again, a map that's really good for her, similar to Brightmarsh, but you're always on the point. You're always in this one area. It's relatively closed off, easy to get shots in that are going to lock you down. I think it could be a big one. I don't know if either of these teams have a dredge in their pocket yet, but
the only way I
like it.
The only way I could see dredge really having the biggest impact here, as far as like another ban, would be, you ban out an economy of front lines. That means that what you're gonna get in your 1 and 2 picks after they pick first is not going to be comfortable enough to go against the dredge, right? Because you're banning them out, but are they going to first pick dredge?
No,
probably not. But if you only have like I don't know, say you only have a Barrack, right, available. You've banned out your Khan, your Inara, you're not playing Fernando, and then you've got a Willow ban or something like that. Barrack Drogos versus the dredge, do you really get the edge there? I don't know. I could see people maybe saying, hey, it's not worth it, guys. Dredge might be able to destroy us. We don't have the sustain we need. And making sure that he doesn't stay through. But that's neither here nor there. Sour Team 1 game up, about to send ZAGA Talent Gaming into the losers bracket if they finish off Jaguar Falls the way they finished off Brightmarsh. But ZAGA in the second pick position, William, can have a little bit more control over their bans, at least their picks, at least in the first phase here.
The glory is if they go, I want to say similar to the bans last time, I expect Sour Team to opt more for an Inara first as opposed to a Khan, but then ZAGA are able to pick up a Khan Willow combo, or pick up any kind of combo, I guess, that they really want at the very beginning. I don't know if they want to do the Khan Leon again at the very beginning, maybe pick her up, maybe even Leon Willow, as it could be. But there's a lot that could be open, and a lot of driving factor right here, but Khan going to get banned away. Sour Team, I guess, did not like the pressure Pule was putting onto them.
Well, again, it's interesting because we're seeing that economy, right? We're seeing that economy. They're going to get the Inara. Now does ZAGA feel good about giving an Inara up when there's no Khan or Makoa available? They haven't shown the tendency to absolutely just whatever means necessary love the Fernando, although it's odd because Puleoli is a fantastic Fernando player. Joppy prioritizing that for Sour Team, getting that the other matchup. And so I wonder what they're going to do here. Definitely an important ban. It's the Fernando ban. So a true lack of frontline economy here. I would almost assuredly expect they're forcing Sour Team into pick Inara now, or we're going to get Inara and our DPS choice.
I don't see Inara going too far down the draft either way. She's either going to be first or second. Like, it's no
I think Sereni has to
going
pick her
further
now.
down. And honestly, yeah, if Sour Team won what I would say is the best frontline that is left in the pool, you have to grab her now. Ash is probably going to be the closest second that I can think of coming up that we've seen, but she hasn't been performing that well this land.
No, doesn't have a great win rate. Neither does Barrack, but I mean, Khan had a great win rate and he lost. So it doesn't really matter. Win rates don't necessarily matter here. It depends on what they're positioned with.
You trespass
and that's going to be the Inara for Sour Team. ZAGA Talent Gaming now respond with 2 picks of their own. As you see Hayes' smirk on Sour Team, feeling confident about his performance. Willow, notably, still available. Do ZAGA grab a front line and the Willow?
I think it's going to be devastating if they don't. They either have to have a plan for the Willow, or they have no idea what just happened to them last game, because Hayes rocked them. That was mostly him.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of the team effort was there, but there were a lot of openings that were created, a lot of stalls that were created because he starts finding double kills or triple kills wherever they might be, or just a little bit of damage here sprinkled onto the right target is perfect for them. And if you're already comfortable on it, you do not want him on there again.
Interesting. Barrack here, very European in the draft. Barrack, Willow. So really not trusting the Ashe, but more so just prioritizing the Barrack, which we see a lot of EU teams do. And ZAGA kind of meshing right in with the plans for Sour Team here. Now they can flex, and really the only blasters available are the Eevee and the Dredge. No team has picked him yet, although he is available. And I don't know if they'll pick him now. I mean, Leon is a pretty big hit scan choice, as well as Victor. They have continued to hold their spot, and in the case of Victor, rise because of the shrapnel.
How likely do you think it would be that we would see a Pip come through as a blaster instead of as a healer. We've
You
seen him a
think
lot more, I
Hayes
think, as a
is-
healer.
Hayes is strong?
I think Hayes could pull that through,
He
and
could
I think
do
he
it.
could work really well against ZAGA.
I actually really like Jaguar Fall compositions, and notably, you see Torvald not picked out. I don't know how we missed commenting on that. That's a big
The one
fail.
front line that is always banned that never got banned.
You know, he gets slip under the radar, and it almost feels like ZAGA allowed him to slip under the radar here as well. We saw how devastating Torvald Willow was with NIP on Stone Keep. I mean, it's not Stone Keep, but you missed the opportunity prioritizing the barrack. That may come back to haunt them. We'll see what they have.
I mean, you get the combo that rocked the first week of the fall split, first 2 weeks. It's the Andrew Torvald.
And it's one thing to get it, and then you're like, all right, well, now they've got such a stronger lineup over the, over 5 characters. But you give them a Nara first.
Yeah.
And then they have a second tank Torvald with an Andro on Jaguar Falls. It's like, that's everything that you would want. It's going to be rough here.
It's the dream.
And they're getting Damba, too. I mean, what have they had to sacrifice on Sour Team? Have had a basically perfect draft, aside from Hayes getting probably the Willow, which you know he's going to prioritize in most situations.
Either way, being able to flex around, they still have a lot of openings. Yes, you get Leon, you get Willow, so you have all the anti-heal, but we haven't seen that stand up the way that it kind of does on paper. On paper, that's really good for dealing with Inara. In practice, it's still good with dealing with her, but it's not nearly as effective as I think teams prioritize it.
But I like the fact that they've got the anti-heal on both fronts, Willow and Leon. It is the one thing to really shut down an Inara-Damba combination. It is get that anti-heal, the holy trinity, Inara, Leon, Willow, the most sustaining tank in the game, the most anti-heal applicable characters in the game. And it's going to be the Ashe to round things out. You could see Puleule on either one of these champions. He's played both of them before. I don't know if I love Ashe trying to burst down an Andro with a Torvald bubble, and is it? Don't you dare mess with me. Don't you dare mess with me here. A triple DPS without Genos?
A triple DPS, no
Barracking
Genos,
and a
and
dredge?
using Dredge. So a lot of things that we haven't seen,
No.
but it could still be really big, honestly, if
get
it
us
did come
out of
through.
here
But it is the
alive.
Ashe.
There it is.
Stay close
And as
follow
much
me.
as I like Ashe, as much as I think she can be very effective, I think the Sour team literally get a draft that they would like. You
I mean,
dream
that's
about
a-
this kind of draft when
Yeah.
you're like sitting around and you're like,
Absolutely.
how my game's gonna go tomorrow. You pass out.
Yeah.
All the picks are right.
And it's going to be an interesting one. ZAGA Talent Gaming may get a little hard on themselves here in the draft. The Torvald, Inara, and Droxus. Will they clean it up as we head into Game 2? It's do or die for Latin America. Let's send it to your casters, Pretty Air and Vox, to break it down.
They are really playing with our emotions here with that dredge. I mean, I was very excited.
We're getting up and down, up
you
and
brought
down.
up DPS.
I
free
wanted
DPS.
to see triple
You did bring it
DPS.
up.
You know, when we look at the initial kind of breakout hit of Torvald, what did Team Cryptic do back at that Summerland? Way
Yeah.
back in the when? Not the Team Cryptic, formerly Team Cryptic, now G2.
Right.
They go, well, we'll take the Bomb King, we'll take the Drogos and things that just delete Torvald. I wanted to see, honestly, a Cassie to round out that draft because you got good anti-flank pressure with, maybe an Impulse or something like that. And you draft into, or you pick Wreckers on Leon
Be a
and
shame
Cassie.
if that impulse ran into a Torvald bubble, Vox.
Yeah, but that's why you pick the Wrecker first and you delete the bubble first. But not going to happen. The Dredge would be... It's a nice thought, but it's a little unreliable.
I'd love to see it at least once.
Yeah, it's just tough into an Andro, right? You're like, all right, get my grenade launcher.
Yeah, no.
How am I-
That's
just so you have that Zach
Zach
Galifianakis
Galifianakis.
gif with the equations going in front of his head. That's me trying to pronounce his surname, actually, but that's just like the Dredge trying to calculate, like,
Yeah.
where do I throw the where do I put the scuttle?
I
Eventually
like
they're just,
what
cracking
Rain Day
it.
said. You just reload at your feet. You just keep doing that, and hopefully you come out the other side. Okay, that's how I've been playing Dredge recently.
You go close enough to the fights. I just go and sit by
I
some
know,
portals,
man.
get some healing throughput coming through, and I'm just like, all right, I'm sitting toasty here.
Right.
Just blocking off points on Splitstone Quarry, never moving from the upper ground. Just like they pick no flanks. Now they get to suffer.
So we didn't get that 3 DPS, but
No.
outside of that, do you feel okay with the Ashe and the Barrack front lines chosen by ZAGA Talent with their back against the wall?
I think it's just really, really tough right now. I mean, they're both going to suffer because of Rekka. That's going to be picked up by Cassie. Overall, I feel like their shields would be a little bit more effective. You only have that Cassie as a shield killer. You don't have two really strong shield killers. It's not like you're running a Drogas as well or something on top of that. I think the thing where ZAGA are going to suffer most of all is the fact they have to invest into a lot of Rekka, right? So it's a good job they have the Willow there. They can get, they can really get their Barrack online with Rekka. That's the big thing for me.
Okay, well, looking at both of these drafts, I mean, we had a little bit of a leniency, I think, towards Sour Team. They got some pretty scary stuff. You're looking at the Torvald. You're looking at the Androxus as well as the Inara. I thought the second that Torvald Andro was let open, that ZAGA were going to scoop it up. Do you think that they were that worried about Barrack being taken away from them and just being left with nothing to point frontline with?
I think it would have been really difficult for them because what have you got left, right? You got a Nara or you have a Barrack, and then you're dealing with maybe a Fortress Breaker Ash, and that's kind of it. The Torvald is very much a flex. The thing that I'm a little bit surprised not to see right now, which I thought would have been a really nice addition, is maybe a Grok, because there's literally nothing on Sour Team that can block that Shock Pulse, but you're dealing with an Androxus. You need that reliable burst damage to come on through. Up to the high ground goes Moondog. Big Flame coming through. Torvald, Andro combos. Haste gets the first kill, and that's all she wrote.
Moondog feeling the pain there. Absolutely exploded. Zetha not far behind him, walled off by Inara. Pretty standard play from the Inara, but I just did not think that Willow was ready for that amount of burst damage to come ripping around that corner.
Because it wasn't just the Andro, right? The Torvald and the Andro rush out and you go, oh my god, I gotta look at them. And you stand still and the Cassie just goes, okay, well, free. It's free real estate, right?
That's free real estate, brother.
I don't know what else you want to do there. And it's 78%, 81% and climbing for Sour Team. They're going to try and make the way back in, but you got to remember that there is a wall coming through. And as soon as Zetha tries to get in there, it's just Andro doing Andro things. This is why you ban the field study Torvald, folks. This is a bit of a better showing already than we saw from Renegades yesterday.
The Nyx is playing it so well as with this Androxus, making sure that he gets as much damage out of the burst window as possible, and that's such a great way for Androxus to be moving around here. 212.
Got to shout out real fast, Nick, as well, to the Monarch Revolver being rocked by Nyx.
Man.
I am loving this aesthetic right now.
With the X, Stage X, I think it's called, for linking your Hi-Rez account to your Microsoft account or something. I can't even remember how you get the Xbox skin, but he's rocking it. He's rolling it here. He's looking good on land with the Torvald bubbling him away, and there's one moment of vulnerability, and that is all that ZAGA talent will need. Finally, they put some kills on the board.
And they've got to get some kills on the board right here. Moondog finds two. Exterminia takes another one. They need to look for maybe around the edge. Ace is just going to about get away. Ash will chase him down. That's really important right there. That stacker is critical.
3 more seconds you're seeing before Sour Team will have the full strength of their composition. Pretty tight damage race as well. Most champions floating around 10,000 out of the gate. 126 on the clock for Sour Team to get this one moving once again. This is a little bit reminiscent of game number 1. Sour Team come out, they capture fairly strongly, and then ZAGA talent are able to slow them down, if not for a moment.
Okay, I was really surprised because ZAGA were holding very aggressively there. Actually, Puglioli's going straight back in, is going to use the assert dominance in the close area, headbutts the top of the little covered area, and comes straight back down again to make themselves immortal in combination with the Illusory Rift. I really thought that ZAGA were overextended, that they were going to be caught out there, but Sour Team, they invested Red Serpent, they can't get the kill, and then ZAGA Talent Gaming do answer back, but I mean, that's all ultimates invested from ZAGA, besides the Dome Shield, which wasn't available, and Sour still have the Accursed Arm, they still have the Seismic Crash, and they're about to wipe ZAGA and be able to push right up to that objective.
That's what's so scary, is that without these ultimates, ZAGA talent just have not really had a hope. Exterminia finally able to get something going for himself, and now he is just free firing here. Have to find an answer for him. Slides out, still knows where this Androxus is going to be. Tries to track him down with the presence, but cannot find the connection here.
Feels bad to be a Leon when you don't have both auto-aim skills up and available, right?
Yeah, have to use your brain, have to use your aim. Can't just be a dirty Leon main any longer.
Which Exterminia has really been doing so far. You saw the amount of headshots coming onto that Inara earlier, and that might actually make the difference, right? It's a really difficult composition for ZAGA to play into, but if they can land these headshots, if they can get that little bit of bonus damage coming through, it could mean the difference between a couple of shots to kill, but that just kind of really doesn't matter when Nixus is doing this. Lands a cheeky wink with the spray as well.
He's really milking that spray. Certainly.
It's a good spray. I really like that spray. I love this Vivian skin in general, right? The fact that you've got your weapon has like a little blood vial instead of a crystal when you run around to reload it. That is one of my favorite ones in game.
Well, looking here as we head into overtime down the stretch, a lot of damage coming out onto this barrack, but a lot of bowling balls mitigating. Oh,
look at that. Actually, that's a really interesting thing as well. There's a 0.5 second internal cooldown between when you can use your punches again, right?
Yeah.
And that's a change in 1.7 from 1.6. If this was 1.6, that would have been dive into the barrack and just spam your right hook. Or your left, actually, because I can't tell my right from my left, apparently. But not the case right here, but ZAGA Talent Gaming, I was going to say they're still getting beaten up a little bit, but they do at least manage to make enough space right for the defense here.
Just barely managing, and there's the first of this triple kill. Nobody's looking at him for the most part there. He's getting a couple little nice cleanups. I like that long-range presence. A lot of connections here, and Exterminia, after this fact, did manage to seize back the top damage spot. Thank you so much for the INAP instant replays. We head into the second round here. Nice bounce back from ZAGA Talent. They had a bit of a rough start there, but I think, they haven't really played much together. I think this is to be expected. SSG kind of talked about this as well, where, things were hard at the start, but then we started to click here, and we just got it done.
So the big thing for me right now is ult economy, and looking at this Sour team, they have all 5 members going into this next round. They've got plenty of items online, double cauterize and 2 of their members. Joppy actually going into a Chronos 2 there just for more bubbles because you're trying to break through with DPS. But ZAGA Talent Gaming, they are missing their Illusory Rift. The good thing is that'll be up relatively quickly. The problem is I'm not sure if Sour Team might just be able to sweep them in time as that's a Dome Shield used already. And Nixus was just diving that straight up, doesn't care about it, finds the first kill.
There's the big fear. Only managed to get the kill onto Zetha there. No more further pressure coming out. Moondog being very careful about the angles he's choosing to play from. And Nara falling lower and lower. Gets the bubble, gets the healing. She's right back onto the objective. Sour team pulling ahead at 45%.
Nick, you just used the phrase big fear right there. And as, I was going to say, that's the big fear of your Ashe. It's the Hyper Beam throwing you out of your invulnerability point. Still stays alive for a second. Ooh. Beautiful alignment from Extraminia.
Misses the punch there, and that's all the window of opportunity needed. Extraminia does go down. 2-for-1 trade. He's more than happy with what he accomplished in that life. And it's Torvald, it's Maldamba, only ones contesting for Sour Team. They can't get anything done here. Locked down by ZAGA Talent. They start climbing, closing the gap, and moving out to zone.
Dismounting is going to be so critical here, but we've seen this go south before. If somebody can sneak around, it will be bad. Beautiful play, gets the Androxus off. Problem is, Andro still has ults. That might be a bit of a delete onto maybe the Lian, maybe the Willow if they're not careful. Up into the air it goes on a Varial. Oh my goodness, look at that bonus damage coming through.
12-18 off the Accursed Arm, 87% now for ZAGA Talent, but they've been put on the back foot. They lost their support. They have no more healing, no more sustain. Any mistake is going to stick.
Watch for the zoomies coming through here. You know that Torvald bubble is coming up any second. Here comes the Illusory Rift from Ying, though, going to be able to Dimensional Link right back to the front line. Sitting Sour Team at 90%, trying to make their way on through. ZAGA Talent Gaming, they've got to engage now, and that's Nixus down.
There it is, Ying being so impactful here. 90% for ZAGA Talent Gaming. Their healer is back, and she is ready to make sure everyone is nice and healthy. Extraminia gets one. Ferio shut down again. Extraminia will fall. It's just Buleo. Look at this kill feed. It is simply filling up. Faithflight has to come down from her high castle. Every single person dying in that engagement except for one.
Inara full health, by the way, because...
Yeah, full health, by the way.
Because Inara, right? Like, what do you do to that? You go Maldama's on their last legs. Let me just pop Earthen Guard, get a full heal from Amending Spirits, and we're straight back into the action. Just gonna reload my fists as I walk up and down here like Henry Cavill. But so far, payload captured 2-1 in favor of Sour Team. Ultimates coming online. We saw them go super aggressive last time, and it didn't work out too well for them. I'd love to see Sour collect themselves a little bit more this time, Nick, and play it a little bit safer. Joppy finds a couple of kills. Nixus finds another one, though, and they might not need to, as they've already taken out 3 members of ZAGA Talent Gaming.
Couldn't quite get the wall down there, or else it would have resulted in even more kills. Bubble just to get Nixus up here and in really the action. This is a really good start to that offense. Sour Team do not have to burn a minute and a half off the clock, just waiting to get this objective moving. ZAGA Talent have not won the fight after the objective fight here. They have gone back, they have gone down, and they have gone down early.
This is really big as well. Just the patience coming through from Nixus right now, not to go, I got a bubble on me, I can dive in. It's, I got a bubble on me. Let me see if I can get a couple of shots onto a specific target. Pick my battles really wisely and see what I can do. But ZAGA Talent Gaming, they're trying to hold on. It's 90% of the way through. Here comes the Hyper Beam. Torvald saying you don't get a contestant's objective, and Sour Team slide it on through.
They do. Look at all the people alive. That's just the strength of Hyper Beam, creating the window of opportunity just out of nothing. Moondog rips across the battlefield in his Faithlight. But the fight was just pulled out from under him. He had to get back down to earth to touch this objective. I'm so surprised that they were able to bring this one back. They got their Inara there. They got her to the spot, and she was indeed full health when it all came to a close.
So the only saving grace right now for ZAGA Talent Gaming is that because that push was relatively quickly, I don't think that Sour Team have charged many of their ultimates. They also use the Hyper Beam right at the end there. Additionally to that, they've got comeback mechanic, right? It's 3-1 in favor of Sour Team. If ZAGA Talent Gaming can just get the same kind of retake that they did in the last round, they can probably zone long enough with that 4% per tick to actually get a capture coming through here. Ying has Morale Boost 3 as well. Extraminia sitting on that Enlightenment. Need to find a big kill early onto this Androxus and then really stir things up.
They gotta find something here, Vox. This is
I love it.
If Sour Team capture this objective, ZAGA Talent Gaming are going to the losers bracket. So much damage pouring out from Moondog up high, but is it enough? Already so many kills for a Sour team. He just has to run away alone, tail between his legs. ZAGA Talent were not able to get the fight that they wanted.
No, but they have the Dome Shield and they still have the Enlightenment available, and this is critical. If that Barrack can sneak around the outside, Zatha looks for it, does get dismounted, disengaged, does miss. That could have been really sneaky, but it's 81%. It's rising. This Barrack's got to get back on through. Torvald's going to try and nullify, and that could be really big, but the Dome Shield does go down, and that'll save it for at least this second.
Bowling Ball is able to keep him alive just under the Dome Shield, 96% to 11, but now the kills are starting to come through for ZAGA Talent. Illusory Rift has popped. Everyone in red is being healed at 600 health per second, and with that they are able to stabilize. Comeback Mechanic roaring this lead to a close.
I can just see in the bottom left-hand side, we got Sour Team right there, and just looks like, oh, my hands are off the keyboard and mouse, because there's pretty much nothing we can do at this point for it. Zarini's going to try and make their way on in, but it's 97% and rising. What a comeback from ZAGA Talent Gaming. That was the most perfect Illusory Rift I think we've seen so far this tournament, because it just reset the fight. The Androxus died, there was no Cauterize on the Lian, everybody back to full health. That's one of the values that Ying brings.
And I mean, let's talk about Fario right now. How many clutch moments has he already had on this Ying? I mean, talk about going down Illusory Rift, blinking all the way out of spawn back to your teammates to save that fight. He has been incredible. We haven't seen a support have this type of impact yet this tournament, I think.
Really, maybe we've seen a little bit of it come out at times, but not this consistently. And that's a big thing right here. ZAGA Talent Gaming, they do take a few falls here. They might be able to spend some of their credits. Can we take a look at the items, please? And we should be able to see if they've managed to get a mid-round buy coming through. And oh, look at that. This is the really big thing for me. How much Rekka can you get on in how short amount of time? Moondog sitting at Rekka 2, extra Minia, Rekka 3, and that'll start making the difference versus Torvald. That kind of early game snowball potential with the bubble pop mechanic being a thing that actually stops Torvald from getting bonus damage to targets that are bubbled. Once that breaks, this could start to see the tide turning right now.
Well, with the bubble dying, the bonus damage dies with it, and Nixus dies all alone. Look how far away Grandpa is. There is no help coming from Torvald there. There's just a ton of damage ripping from this Willow. Nowhere to hide, Grandpa. No mobility for Torvald. He goes down around the corner, and Sour Team are on the back foot in all senses of the word. ZAGA Talent setting up for the conversion.
This feels a little bit like what we saw in that Brightmarsh game, actually, whereas you try and hide behind a little structure. Maybe it's a tree trunk, maybe it's just a bit of temple ruins, and you go, oh no, Will's just going to shoot either side of it, and she's going to chip you down little bit by little bit, but the respawns are coming through from Sour, very low Zarini. Will they be able to hold on?
There it is. Illusory Rift pop once more. Can it save Barrack's life? The answer is no. Zarini takes him down. But good. Answering back quickly, Moondog takes down Nixus, one of the big hyper carries in this team fight. We still have Heist. We still have Cassie here, but right now Inara is being the sole recipient of these bubbles. Heist pops his scout. He knows these targets are back here, but he's not landing the shots here. Blast combo is lined up, ready, but he misses it. Rolls back onto the objective, and in extra mini is Enlightenment. 50% gets the ultimate charge reset. If he can just stay alive here, this is looking better and better for ZAGA Talent Gaming, setting up for conversion.
I just don't know what's going on here. I mean, Sour Team, they had the respawn proximity advantage, but they were so staggered, and this Willow is not going down. That's the big thing for ZAGA right now. Nobody's able to kill this Faith Flight. It's Inara. At this point, it's a given. But still, actually, that Inara has more time for some respawns to come back on through, but with Haste going down as well, Nixus tries to make their way in. Can't quite find the kill. Illusion doing work for extra minute. It's just Torvald trying to hold, and this isn't looking good for Sour Team.
How many full resets are we going to see here? Turning back in, it's second. Dying for the, I don't know, second, third time this fight. I mean, the INAP instant replay will show us a lot of the man that has kept the glue and Sour Team together right now. Zarini has stayed alive for so long in so many situations. He bought them that third wave of respawns, but it still wasn't enough. ZAGA Talent looking very, very strong in that third round. Is it the items just coming online?
I think it really is the items just coming online. Torvald loses so much of their potential once you do get the Wrecker online. Additionally to that, I think they're starting to figure out how to deal with them. It's like, let's just focus down that bubble. Let's just make sure that bonus damage isn't coming through. And then Androxus is 2100 health. It's really easy to focus them down. It's not like they're a major threat. They can buy some time with reversal, but not mattering too much. Look at the streaks now for ZAGA Talent Gaming. Look at those items coming online. Full red for everybody but Moondog and Fariel, who is sitting so survivable on a Haven 3 here. 12, 13, 11 streaks for ZAGA. Sour Team, they have some ultimates online. They've already used Scout. Here comes the Accursed Arm. Will it find anyone?
But it's been so many times. It's tried and true. Gets the pick that it needs to find. Faith Flight will start raining down onto Inara, forcing her off of the objective, at least for the time being here, but there's no many kills presenting themselves here to Moondog. He's on a 12 streak, but he's struggling to make it 13.
I feel like Nixus is sitting there waiting, or tries to go in a little bit too deep there, but here comes Haste as well on the Cassie. Tries to find the damage on the Moondog, doesn't get the kill, but it's 66% and rising for Sour Team. It's 3-3, Nick. This could be the end of the set. Nixus finds Moondog, and now how do you come back from that? You've got ultimates, but you've got to get somebody onto the point.
Everyone is scouted out here. Barrick has managed to weave his way onto the objective. He throws down the dome shield. He's staying alive here as well. Gets the Illusory Rift. He's stunned. He's fighting with everything that he is. It's Barrick, baby, but he will finally go down.
Oh, what a wall.
Manages to slide through there. The cracks just posing an opportunity, but Sour Team are holding strong here. The frags continue to fall. Ash is here to stall things out, but Puleule, this is simply a mountain too large, I think, even for he to lift.
I mean, how do you come back to that? It's the Barrack who is diving in, might reach there in time to reset overtime, but again and again, up goes the wall. Not much left to say. Barrack stays alive for a surprising amount of time, and I'm really watching a conga line dance right now at this point, Nick.
It is. The Clown Fiesta in every sense of the word heist. Picks up a quick triple kill, and it will be Sour Team winning game number 2, putting them up 2-0, sending ZAGA Talent down to the losers bracket. The EU PGS representatives here will move on.
What a difference it was in that last push from ZAGA, but then you take out Moondog, and that's just kind of it for the point fight. ZAGA needed all 5 members of their team to be there at any given point in time for them to see success, and as soon as you managed to deal with just one of them, they started to crumble. On the other side of things, Sour Team, they had so much damage potential and kill potential because of that field study Torvald. Just if Cassie's alive, if Androx is alive, you're effectively dealing enough damage for 2 DPS members of your team at that point, and that's really significant.
I want to talk about that last little shot we saw there on the team shot before we came back to us, is that Puleule is he's sort of coaching the rest of them, right? Everyone is looking down at him. They are looking to him. He is the most experienced player on this roster. He has seen the most success in his career on Paladins. He moved over here as the coach, but ended up having to step in as a player, as we learned from that pre-game interview. But just the communication, it's happening. Obviously, they are not smiling. They just lost the game, but they're not out of this tournament yet.
And I think this is a really valuable learning experience for them, because now they know why people have been banning Torvald in every game but 2 of this tournament so far. That is the only time that they have actually made it through, besides Renegades, and the first win for Torvald in this tournament, Nick, and now we really see why.
Well, that's going to do it for us, guys. Congratulations to Sour Team. They were able to get the victory over ZAGA Talent. We're going to throw it back over to Rain Day and Gore Miser on the desk to break it down.
All right, so Sour Team are able to do it without having all of their teammates there. It seems like it's possible. So we'll send it over to, obviously, some cameras taking a look at the handshakes. I think it was a great showcase of these players, Gore, and what they were able to do. Both teams look like they have threats.
Does Inara count as 2 teammates for what we
You're
just
right.
saw?
That made up the difference.
That was a solid game from both teams. And the thing about it is, and very similar, like, I mean, look at the end when Mouse lose. Look at the end when ZAGA lose, right? Mouse was sitting there. They were very somber, very silent. ZAGA, obviously not looking happy, but they're talking. What went wrong? What are we trying to figure out? And that's the difference. You're in the lower bracket. You still have an opportunity to make a run. Other teams have done it before. It is not impossible. It's going to be hard, but you can do it, and I like the idea.
And you know what? You're going up against teams who have not figured it out. And I think the biggest difference maker for me is the way I look at 2 teams, and I look at the way Renegades had their performance yesterday, and where it almost felt like there was some admission to just not having the team that they wanted here. Okay, and then it's like, don't judge us. We don't have the team we want, so we're not obviously those Renegades. And ZAGA, who have come here and said, you know what, we obviously lose. We wanted to win. We had Latin America and Brazil on our shoulders because they play together like brothers. I think this was a one where they could have gone and said, man, Puleule looks across the table. Sadak gets a win with SSG. He's over here. There used to be teammates, and now he's getting upset. And he turns and he says, here's what we need to do. Because there are a lot of teams who are going to feel dejected, down, the exact same feeling we have. And it's a matter of who of those teams actually rises through the top. And that's what I like about Puleule's decision-making and his approach, and that we saw Nick point out earlier. But your Steel Series MVP for today, we all know who it was. It was Zarini on the Inara. It was a very funny moment where, you just see him being the last man standing, and in this case, the last woman standing. There's no mention of that in Barrick's phrase. He may want to just, bring that one up to 2018, buddy, because you're missing out on the one who ends up staying there at the end.
Especially, I'm not sure if Barrick, sees the health bars, but they definitely lean a lot more in favor of
You
one
mean they're
than the
too
other.
tall for him? He can't look up. His neck hurts if he stares that high. I mean, I think Inara's
I guess that works too.
8 feet tall.
Either way, there were several
Barrick's
times.
rocking a 3'6".
I think
here.
originally it was on the point, but then it was just several times after that Zarini's just like, okay, guys, have fun killing me.
Yeah.
ZAGA actually, I think, for their third conversion point, did stagger out the Inara. Like, it seemed like they were just taking a long time to kill her, and I'm assuming part of it is that she takes a long time.
Right.
But it's also, let's wait to get rid of her so we don't have to deal with this Inara, and we can just systematically pick off the rest of the team.
And to Sour Team's credit, I think they played phenomenally. They're
yes.
missing, if not just as important of a piece to their rosters. We've seen some other teams, miss with Nino Sassala. And you know what? Nixus shows up and plays well. Joby has a nice moment there, and he shifts onto several different front lines that I really think support them in doing well. And I'm excited for this team moving forward. They are in the winner's bracket, and so they do have that 2-loss kind of potential now. They can lose one, go back to the loser's bracket before they're out. But I like the way that they showed up today, and I think that they were confident about being able to win. But I think the pressure honestly was a little bit more on ZAGA in this matchup because of their cross country kind of relative, so to speak, in SSG doing well, and also Puleule trying to show his stuff for the first time without the representatives that he's so used to playing with on LAN. Extra Minia looked nice though. I mean, he had some moments. I said, oh boy. Moondog had some moments too. I just, I think Gore, does it land on the Inara? Is it the fact that everything's even except the fact that Inara's with the Torvald and the Andro, they got all of it?
I think it was the fact that a lot of what Sour Team had was stacked, and it's also the way the bans went, right? A lot of the other front lines that have a better time dealing with Inara were banned out. You had no options to go for. You had to go for a Barrick Ashe, which isn't exactly your top choice at dealing with them. But Sour Team's still able to get not only a very solid draft with it, they have good decision-making throughout the entire time, and they showcase pretty much why we've seen a lot of these get banned all tournament.
I was really excited about this team heading into this tournament, and so far they do not disappoint. They get the victory over ZAGA Talent Gaming, and we actually have Nick and Vox standing by to hear a few words about how they're feeling.
All right, guys, here with Hasten Zarini. Congratulations, first of all, and kind of the perfect segue into my first question. You sort of just giggled and said, we won. My first question is, what were your realistic expectations coming into this set? Because we don't really know too much about ZAGA Talent Gaming other than they have Puleule. They were able to beat Free Agent Boys, who were previously Nocturnes and a very competitive team. So were you expecting to win this set?
Well, we knew they had the 2 subs, obviously, like that plays into count. But we watched some of their games. Like, we knew how they play. We didn't really know what to expect, obviously, because we never play against them. And they did beat Free Agent Boys, which was a pretty good team. So I mean, I feel like we could do it. When we play our game, we play really well, and I feel like a lot of people don't know that because obviously we've never played against anyone outside of PGS. But we had we thought we could win, yeah. If we just played our game, we played our draft, worked out, and it was a little bit shaky, but we did win.
So speaking about playing to your draft, feels like you got a pretty damn good one in that second game there on Jaguar Falls. I mean, you get the Inara, you get the Torvald, Androxus. Was that basically the dream for you guys? Were you expecting to be able to get all that?
Not really, but when we left the Willow open for them, getting the Nara, we just knew that they had to leave the Andro or the Torvald open for us, and they gave us both, so that was good. That was really good.
Well, looking forward in this event now, how far are you guys realistically, I think, expecting to go here? How far do you can go with 2 subs? I mean, there's a couple teams here with 1. Puleule is a sub after all for the squad, but you guys have 2.
Well, we're not playing with 2 subs, actually.
Yeah,
we're playing with 1 sub.
Okay.
Nixus is our sub because our 5th couldn't make it. So we're playing with 1 sub only. But, next up we have Cryptic or Armada, which are 2 teams we play against a lot. We scrim them.
You do?
Yeah, we scrim them a lot, Armada especially. So we know what to expect of them. We know their play. And like I said, if we play our game, if we play comfortable, a little bit less shaky than today because we're a little bit nervous, of course.
Yeah.
I feel like we can definitely beat them. But it will be tough after that, looking further in the bracket. Yeah. So it's hard to say how we'll go up against those other teams.
Well, congratulations, guys. Good luck in your next matches, and thank you so much for doing this with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.